So I'm about to go live with an incredible friend of mine. His name is Jensen Chang. J is for Jensen. He's going to be logging on shortly. I just want to say thank you guys, everybody that's coming out right now to check it out. We're just going to talk story today. So the guy that I'm about to bring on, he's one of my favorite humans in the whole planet. I met him in 2008, and he's just the best dude ever. He is a Honolulu firefighter with HFD. He's been in for years. Just the best. I mean, I can't say enough about this guy. Jensen Chang. What is up, dude? Yo, I'm repping the shirt you got me. That light sleepers hitter. Don't sleep.
Oh, look, I got the Truist. Remember Truist? It was right.
I love
Truist.
Truist.
Right next door.
Yo, I follow Truist online, and I'm a huge fan. Both times I went in there, they were super cool. Did you grow up with that guy?
Yeah, yeah, the guy who runs Truist or owns it anyway. Yeah, went to the same high school, so we played basketball, so that's how I know him.
I'm trying to get my waves in because I got so many people that came through. Thank you guys. I appreciate you for coming through. Listen, I'm gonna do I already gave a small introduction. Basically, this dude right here is one of my favorite people on the whole planet. And we go way back, like 12 years, a little over 12 years. I remember when I first moved here, I wasn't a cop. I was just some dude, right? We met at church. You weren't a fireman yet.
No.
You were working at the hotel. At what hotel was that?
When I left, it was an Outrigger Luana. It was called Outrigger Luana, but now it's a different name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it changed again. I don't know. And when I first started there, it was I think the Waikiki Terrace, and then it changed again, and then it changed again, and now it's a different name.
But you worked there a long time, right?
Yeah, I got the job when I was like 19 or 20, and I didn't get in the fire department until I was 32, so like over 10 years.
Wow. So where were you born?
In Hilo.
You were actually born in Hilo?
In the Hilo hospital, yeah. And my dad had to move to Puna to do what he was doing, so we lived in Paradise Park, if you know where that is, for a couple of years. But my parents, well, if we go back, my parents split up when I was maybe 5 or 6, and then my mom moved here, so I stayed in Hilo. And then for the next couple of years, we moved around with my dad, spent a couple of years in Puna, and then the job he got or whatever, he had to be on Oahu for like 4 months. So I lived with my grandparents. He left us with my mom's parents. So I lived with them for a couple of years before I moved here. I moved here and I started 6th grade.
So you were there till you were 11?
Yeah, about there.
And then where'd you go to school in Oahu?
My parents, my mom and my stepdad had rented a place in Powell Valley, if anyone knows where that is. And so I went to Powell Elementary for 6th grade, Kawananakoa Intermediate. I think it's called middle school now, but it was only 7th and 8th grade then, and then Roosevelt High School.
You went to Roosevelt.
County.
Bro, it's so
County.
crazy. It's crazy because, right, I didn't know you back then. All I know is today's Hawaii. And so when I try to put you like a little young Jensen, little Jensen boy, in all these places that you tell me about, but they were 30 years ago, it's hard for me to picture you in those spots, right? Like I never guessed you were a Roosevelt grad, to be honest with you.
What would you say?
I mean,
stereotypically, what would I be?
I would think I'm gonna put you on the east side, I guess. But you had some famous people went to your school, yeah?
I mean, I guess Bruno Mars, right? But he's a lot younger than me. Yeah. So the hotel I worked at, his dad has a band. I don't know if they still have it, called the Love Notes. It's like 60s like doo-wop music, and they played at the hotel I was working at for
Was
a long
it good
time.
though? It sounds good.
Yeah, it was like, if you like that kind of music, yeah, it was like, I guess one of the only doo-wop bands back then in Hawaii. Yeah.
I mean, I imagine that's what influenced him, yeah.
Yeah. He has a lot of that older vibe or soul.
So you graduated from Roosevelt. Well, so you went to Roosevelt.
Yeah.
And then what year did you graduate?
96.
Hey, tell me this. How come that's the first question people ask? My first day of police academy, the corporal stood up in front of the class. He goes, okay, You guys know the drill. You're going to stand up one by one. We're going to go alphabetical.
Fire
You're going to stand up
department
one by
too.
one. You're going to say, I want your name. I want to know what you do for a living or what you did for a living. I want to know what high school you went to. And as soon as the first guy started, everybody's ripping on him for what school he went to. All the way down the line, everybody got ripped on. And for the most part, people felt like they knew who you were based on where you went to school.
Right. And I think people, because Hawaii's so small that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a conversation starter. And like, if you go to a certain school at that time, if we're the same age, then you say, oh, you know this person and you know that person, and make a connection. And then you guys get to like talking about that. But yeah, fire department, same thing. You got to stand up. And it's funny in the fire department, it's always how many Kamehameha grads. So in our class, there was 40, I want to say 41 or 42 guys. I think 12 or 13 was Kamehameha. So it's always a thing like this.
That's the first thing they did. As soon as the first guy stood up and said he went Kamehameha, somebody shout Imua, and somebody went like this. And as a white dude, I had no idea what was happening, but everybody understood what was happening. It made no sense to me at the time, but I noticed from living on the mainland now, nobody says that. Nobody says, where did you go to school? Nobody says, what school you grad from. That's just not even.
Because it's so spread out. It's so spread out, you know, you wouldn't necessarily know someone.
It's got to be, I guess. I mean, how many high schools are in Oahu? It can't be many. Like
20 or 30?
Really? You think there's 30 public high schools? Wow, maybe.
I don't know.
I was thinking like 15. We had guys in my class
but there's private schools too, so there's.
Oh, true. And those count. Those count, right? As soon as you find, because we had one guy St. Louis. I think we only had one guy St. Louis. But as soon as the Iolani guy stood up, or some fancy school, right away everybody thought he was going to be soft or whatever. But when the St. Louis guy stood up, the very first question after what high school did you grad from, they always say, what position did you play? Like that was the next question. At least if you were big.
Yeah, St. Louis is, I would say, 80% of the kids go there to play football.
Oh, really?
I don't think they cut, right? Is that right? If anyone knows, that's what I heard. They don't cut anyone if you go try out.
Really?
And I think that's how Punahou is too. Yeah, there's a guy on my engineer is from Punahou. He said, oh, they don't cut guys, and I guess they just have that much equipment. Maybe somebody out there knows.
So wait, what did you say you grad? 98.
96.
96. Wow. Was it much different than what it is now? Like, how was high school for you?
High school was great. Yeah, it was good. Because I think I did play basketball. So once like, while I was only in ninth grade, and you have your friends from your middle school that it's always rough that ninth grade year, but I ended up making the JV basketball team, and that's how I made a lot of friends.
Is that where it started?
Yeah, I didn't think I had no idea who was out there, what was happening. I just said, I'm gonna go try out, and I was like maybe the second or there was like maybe 3 of us that just sat at the end of the bench because they were like, I was super undersized and we were all tiny, and then there's some big Hawaiians, jumping all around, super athletic.
Hey,
and,
so
that's how I made friends.
What would you say? What is your ethnicity? If you had to sum it up in 3, right? Because I know you got 15 of them. What is the three main ethnicities?
In me?
Yeah.
Why don't you guess? What do you think? People always are confused. I don't know why. I look weird. I don't know. Go ahead.
No, well, my guess would be Hawaiian, Japanese, Chinese.
Oh, that's pretty good. I'm just Japanese and Chinese.
Oh, okay.
But I've had American Indian, right? I guess you could see it. People think I'm white, part white, a little bit. Or people ask me if I'm Hawaiian a little bit. But yeah, I'm just Japanese and Chinese, and mostly Japanese.
Bro, how old are you? I mean, how tall are you? Because you may be the world's tallest Japanese Chinese.
No, I'm only like 5'9", 5'10" at most.
No way.
I'm not that tall. There's way taller Asians.
So maybe you just feel super tall on the basketball court, because I have played you on the basketball court. And I'm not going to lie. I don't know if it was racial profiling or whatever. I'm just being honest. But I was not expecting what I got. That's for sure. I'll never forget playing with you. I was like, I need a few weeks before I go back and play with him.
No.
So that's when it started, JV for you. Started playing basketball.
Yeah.
And did you play all the way through high school?
I did. Well, I quit my junior year. I really had a bad attitude, and uh, I didn't like the coach. I got it, I was like, I don't want to practice today, guys. My friends are outside the gym talking. What are you guys doing? I don't really want to practice today. So I just walked in and said, oh, I'm not going to play this year, coach. Then I had to go back as a senior and try out again. And I made the team again.
Dude,
and by that time, I was just like doo-doo at the end of the bench. I had not put in time. I was like the token senior guy. And I was just joke. I would just joke around because I knew I wasn't going to play. So I was just like almost undermine the coach and like make jokes, and it was bad.
As you were talking, I got roll call. Everybody's throwing that roll call out. Let me hear where you guys are from. Where you grad? The big beef patty said Hama is one part for sure.
No, you know who that guy is? That guy's on my truck. I know him.
Oh,
this guy, the big beef patty, Pat. He's like 6'3". He lost a bunch of weight and is like at 260 or something.
260 shredded.
Pat Stasio. If you're in a jiu-jitsu community, you know who Pat Stasio is.
So you are part Chinese, part Japanese, and the biggest part Hama.
Yeah. That's the main part, the one that counts.
So first you did Coco Head.
The brain. Oh.
What was the shortest? What was your time?
Today was 18 and a half minutes.
That was the first time in how long?
I feel like that was maybe the first time all year. Like since the COVID thing started, and that's in March, I haven't done it. So maybe once or twice before that this year. So, I mean, I was expecting that, I guess.
And then what'd you do after school, after high school?
I went to KCC for like a couple of semesters just because that was like what everyone was doing. But I quickly got suspended because I wasn't going to school. And I went to school off and on till I was probably at KCC. I didn't get serious about it till I was probably my 21, 22, 23 maybe. Then I got my AA, and then I went to Manoa and got a English degree at Manoa. But I was old already. And, because I had like dilly-dallied for the first few years that there are kids in there like 18, 19. I'm like, getting married. I got married. I was 25 or something, and there's all these kids in there.
And I gotta say, your family is, they're like my family and just the greatest people ever. Sometimes I wonder, like, how much it's gotta be that good people just attract other good people, because you and your family, your wife and kids, are just our favorite people. My kids' favorite friends, my wife's favorite girl, and you my favorite dude. So we've probably, I remember when you started Fire Academy, we went to church. We went to the Ark Christian Church, and it was on Kauhipa. Or it was on Kauhipa at the time, right? Or were we already on Cam Highway across from? I think it was
the one. Yeah, I think that was that one.
And you had started. I remember trying to tell you how to. Did I try to teach you how to polish your shoes?
Yeah, right.
Did I come over and do that?
I think so.
I think I did.
I think you did. The lighter trick. Did you do the lighter? Okay, I think
that was me. That was me. And I remember you telling me later, like, it wasn't that big a deal. I know at HPD they make a big deal out of your boots.
No, it was a big deal. But you know what it was? After you graduate, it's not a big deal. Like, you try to keep it super, super clean. And at first, like, one of the first days at the station, guys were like shooting water and getting it all over the boots. I was like, what are you guys doing? But after you graduate, it's not like a big deal.
Can you see the comments, Jens?
Yeah.
See that? Get some aloha kind grinds.
Oh, yeah.
So this dude's been supporting, just saying nice stuff in the DMs and always, commenting and whatever. He's out in, I think it was Portland, or he's like, I don't know, an hour and a half from Portland, something like that. But he's got a Hawaiian food, like a food truck, Hawaiian food truck. So he was the one that I gave that shout out to. And then we got a bunch of roll call here. We got Castle in the house. What was it, Lily?
My stepsister's on here, Gracie.
Stepsister. We got Lad Lane in the house. I know Lad Lane.
Is that at the beginning of the valley? That doesn't sound familiar.
Lad Lane is that really small street right by the park. But I was hunting some. There was this girl, I forget her name, but she had a big warrant, and I would always go sit on the house and try to see if she's gonna come out. So that's how I remember Lad Lane. The problem is everybody knows everybody in that valley, so you know,
generations
all
goes
the
deep.
families have lived there forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I just went back because Cammie's cousin lives there. Oh, Cully is an official. Have you heard?
He told me, dude. He just took a screenshot and told me I got in. I haven't heard his date yet. You know when he starts?
I think in January, but yeah.
All right, so
He lives. Oh, go
do you
ahead.
remember what class?
I don't know what number. No.
I think it's like 200, you know.
Wow.
And I was 169. So I think he's going to be in the 200 class. I don't know what's coming up next. So Who is Lazarus says the class is 199.
Oh.
They start in January. There's a class going right now. There's a bunch of dudes that I've been talking to that come out to the channel. And I know that we got Cully in this next class in January.
But yeah, in Poa, it's like there's all new houses now, so it's like the kids inherited from their parents or grandparents, tore it down, and like are building new houses.
Yeah, or not tearing down. Let's be honest. Yo, how many of those houses up tentless? You know, at the base. You know where Auntie lives?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They can't.
Had one guy lived in the front of that place named, and I always got calls over there. Him and his girlfriend would always fight, and their house was falling apart. I don't know how it was still standing. There's rooms with a roof had no roof. It just rains in the house.
Is it the one lane that goes in?
Yes.
Where,
by the bridge.
So like,
you know how there's that little, like, it's like a bridge, dude. It's like a little tiny bridge, like one car long.
Yeah. Okay. So you go past
Just
where Auntie Karina lives.
To the left. It's a big property. It's like a couple acres.
Oh, okay. On the other
like,
side of the river.
On the left side, yeah. Oh, yeah, like on the left
Okay.
side of the road. And then it's a huge property, beautiful property. Tons of mango trees and avocados and crazy stuff. But I remember she would call all the time, like, I cannot sleep. So somebody's fighting. You know what I mean? So what you said, you got married in your 25?
I got married in 2005, so whatever year that. So we just made 15 years. Maybe 26. Maybe I was 26.
That's insane. Where'd you guys meet?
Well, we went to the same high school. Yeah.
Oh, really?
We knew each other. She's on, right? But we knew each other, but she was a year younger, and she was like, I'm gonna tell her if she's watching. She's like, she later told me she had a crush on me, and she's like, obviously you're gonna say, well, did you have a crush on, she told
Right.
me, and then asked me if I had a crush on her, and my answer is like, no. It's like, why? But it's because I was such a goof, like I was such a weirdo, and she was like prom queen material. She was a prom queen. I was like, I had no. We were out of my league. Why would I even think to like
Right.
like you? It was like
Yeah.
She had like usually got older boyfriends or so. Yeah. Anyway, we knew each other in high school, and then a couple of years after high school, we have a mutual friend, and we met through him like randomly, sort of. And yeah, now we're married.
Pua just checked in. What's up, Pua? Love that girl. Another one of my favorite people. When I met you was probably 2008 or whatever, and then we didn't get close till maybe 2011 when I moved back. It wasn't really till I think Academy was over for me that our families got really close, because I didn't have any time in Academy. You know how that is.
Right.
But you got a whole gang of kids, and my family just loves them. They still talk about them. And I will say that Jensen Chang, it may be the primary source for all my gear. When it comes to shirts, I get all my flavor from Jensen, and all my kids are wearing shoes that were passed down from his kids. And I'm talking like Jordan 1s, Jordan 3s, mean colorways. Jensen is a sneakerhead. If you don't know, now you know. And I was going to ask you, bro, what's your favorite, if you had to pick one shoe that's your favorite colorway?
My favorite. colorway and everything. It's probably Jordan 4, the bread colorway. But you know, I had one when they first retroed. I bought it at Sports Authority for like $100. I was like, oh, I never had these when I was a kid. I bought them, and they were terrible to play in. My feet hurt, so I put them away, almost like to like stash them away. Next time I looked at them, the sole was like deteriorate. I just threw them away. And then recently, Cammy's brother is like into shoe restoration and customization. He got like a pair of my size and offered it to me for $80. And I said, I turned it down. I was like, yeah, right. But I don't know. I wouldn't wear them. It would happen again where it would just fall apart, and it's just to have. And I don't think I like sneakers, but I don't think I'm a sneaker collector, because I can't just let them sit. If I'm not going to wear it, then I don't want to spend $180 at resale.
And let's be honest,
300, 400, 500.
All these guys buy sneakers, or they grab whatever, like dead stock, and then they sit on them, and then they sell them 10 years later. But are they really sneakerheads if they're selling them? You're really just a businessman, right?
Yeah.
So if you like sneakers, like my favorite all-time pair are the '06 Stabs in the I don't know if you remember, I used to have them. They were like it was like an army green with like a tangerine.
Oh,
stab.
with the safari, like was there like a little color, like a little pattern on it, or no?
I don't think there was.
Was a Stab with the different colors? The lettering with the different letters?
Stab was like powder blue, pink, orange, whatever.
Right.
But it was a mango. It was like a mango and green. That was my favorite, and they were the most comfortable. I bought them at the Goodfoot in Toronto in 2006. No, 2005. I was so much of a sneakerhead that for my bachelor party, my boys all took me to Toronto to go sneaker shopping, and then we entered a battle or whatever and battled some Canada crew. But it's funny how I remember when I retired them, I took a picture on Instagram and I did like a funeral for my shoe. It was my favorite shoe, but once they fell apart, it was it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's funny that you mentioned Air Stabs. Just yesterday or the day before, I was on eBay, and I'm always on eBay wasting time. My wife hates it. But there was an old, I think it was '08 pair of Air Stabs, and I was watching for like $40. And then I guess if you get a notification if you're a seller that someone's watching it. So he offered it to me for $30, but I passed.
Yeah, but you got some good finds. So you always thrift, yeah?
Yeah, I'm super thrifty. And that's another thing. Chinese. I'm Chinese. I don't like to pay resale.
That's funny, bro. That's funny. I can't tell you how many times you told me you bought something you thought it was a mistake after you bought it. You're like, I bought this shirt. I probably shouldn't have bought this shirt. I'm like, how much you spent on you? Like $13. That's funny, bro.
I'm Chinese. What can I say?
Your kids now got it though.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's a good thing. I turn them into kind of like materialistic. They're always looking for the next thing. I want this, I want that. Maybe is that normal, or is it just my kids?
I don't know, bro, but I think a lot of it comes down to the quarantine.
Oh yeah.
So how's it been in Hawaii? Like boots on the ground, right? So you're a first responder. So not only do you pound the streets every night, but also live in Hawaii. You're a local boy. How has the quarantine been for those that maybe are off island?
I think at first I think it goes in waves. At first everyone's super scared, and then everyone goes and like tries to hoard, right? Costco was nuts. In March, Thursdays were the day I learned because of this that Thursdays is when Costco gets their shipment. Like it would be lines. One day there was a fake rumor, like a fake social media thing that Matson was shutting down. And it was crazy. I went. I'm in line. The line went from the front of the store to the back of the store and then around. So it was like a big U. While I'm in line, just waiting there, I get like a text saying, "Oh no, it's a hoax." Anyway, I had $300 worth of stuff in my car, so I was stuck.
Yeah, so you had 2 gallons of milk and a bag of rice.
Yeah.
Hey, so you were you used to do logistics for the stevedores, right?
The title was supervisor, but it was really just, it sounded like anyway, let me just tell you what I did. Okay, so I was in charge. They give you these charts. They're called manifests. Each container and how they're supposed to be stacked. And they're supposed to come in sequence, and you're supposed to watch it get picked up and put, and you're supposed to communicate with the crane operator which aisle and how deep or whatever. It's like a big grid, and you just are directing, and you're just supposed to look, make sure you see match the numbers up, and make sure it goes to the right spot. But in the meantime, I'm working with other stevedores, like 5 guys at a time, and they all have different tasks. So you're managing them and watching these numbers. So like when they had to use the bathroom, you'd have to like drive away while the containers are still coming, right? And depending on how long they take, when you get back, you like are lost and you're not able to communicate. So that was kind of nuts. And they have their ways of they have their ways of working. And I only lasted 4 months, I think, because the schedule was really, it's like almost 12-hour shifts.
Right. So it was your second job, right?
Right. So I would work on my days off from the fire department. So if I worked on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, fire, and I worked Tuesday, Thursday, Matson, that was like 24, 48, 72 plus the 12. So that's whatever that is, 96 hours. And the hours are super weird. Like you start at 5 or so, and then you PM, and you work, you don't get off till like 3:45 a.m. And that goes for 2 weeks. And once you get a rhythm, you get, okay, I'm used to this sleep schedule. It switches to AMs, and you start at like, well, I think they started, because we were on fire, they let us come a little late, but I think it was like 7 to 4 or something.
So what is the stevedore then? Who is the actual stevedore? What do they do?
The stevedores are the people who are on the ships and touching the containers. So the container pulls up, and there's a person standing there, and all his job is to communicate with the driver of the truck by hand signal when to stop. That's all he does for however many hours. That's his only job. There's 2 other guys who release the container from the frame of the truck. I think those are called pin men. So there's 1 pin on each side. So they take the pins off. Once it comes up, when the container goes onto the boat, it needs to lock in with the one underneath it. So these things need to go underneath, and they're called cones. So those are the cone men, and there's 2 of them. But the pin men can't touch the cones, and the cone men can't touch the pins. They all have their own job.
Dang.
I'm sure it's the union that says that, that's what their duty is.
So those are all stevedores, but they're pin men or cone men.
Right. And the person who stands at the thing and makes, and then.
So they don't ride on the boats. They just are on the boats when they're docked. Taking
right. They offload, they load and offload.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I always got questions. Like everybody always asks me how involved, like how easy would it be to smuggle stuff in? Like, could there be, if you had, say, a dirty stevedore or somebody that's on the take, like, is it possible to get stuff in that way, or is it too deep of a system? You know what I mean?
I'm sure it is, but at my level, I wasn't there long enough to know, and I don't know how the shipping worked. I guess you could load a container, but I don't know if there's inspectors even. Like once the containers go off into the yard, is each one inspected? I don't know.
Right.
So if they're not, that'd be an easy way, right? You just shove a container full of contraband. You tell your friend what number it is, and they go to that container and claim the stuff. But I'm sure there's regulations and checks and stuff in place, unless those guys are on the take too, right?
Right. The stevedores make tons of money, right?
Yeah, so I think I was making $20 an hour. I'm sure the guys that I was supervising were making 40 or 50.
Dang.
Probably. I'm not exactly sure.
How many places do the stevedores work? Is there just one? Is just Honolulu Harbor, or are they at
so there's right. The stevedores I think that worked for Matson they worked for one. What's the name of it? But there's other guys like Pasha is another like shipping company, and so there's stevedores over there. And then there's I think another one, because sometimes when we were short, the guys would come over from this other. Was Pasha, and there's a third one. I forget. It was
just a different company, but they did the same thing?
Yeah. Oh, Young Brothers, too.
Oh, okay. So are they at all the harbors, or is it just like one harbor, they have their own areas?
Yeah, right.
So it's like an airport.
Yeah,
They have
sorta.
like their own.
Yeah, so that's the whole Sand Island area.
Oh, really?
That
So you work Sand Island?
Sand Island, yeah.
Wow, dude.
So we could see the Pasha uh, boats across, and then Young Brothers is down more toward when you come down Waikimilo, straight down Waikimilo in Kalihi, straight down, you go straight into the Young Brothers, and they're on that side.
I could see. I don't know if you remember from Rose Street. I could see the water right past Fort Shafter. I could see right to the water from my
Oh,
window, and you could always see them coming in. I wonder how dirty is that water?
probably pretty dirty. Because I think Pearl Harbor, a lot of or well, maybe not. Yeah, Ke'ehi Lagoon. There's all those like runoffs, all the storm like systems that come down there. It's all the fresh, gross. Well, not fresh water, but like the runoff ends up in Ke'ehi Lagoon and Pearl Harbor. There's big fish because you can't fish, but the fish are not probably good to eat.
Good. Like what? Ulua.
Yeah, I've seen video like huge ones, like probably 20 pounders like running all around. I think guys go like on Pearl Harbor on lunch break, they go throw bread and stuff, or they
Oh,
chum the
really?
water, they feed the fish, and but I don't think you can. You're not supposed to fish. I don't think it's legal to fish on Pearl Harbor, like federal waters.
Did you fish much?
Not no. When I was a kid, that was so funny story. When I was a kid growing up in Hilo, I had an uncle who liked fishing. He's from Japan actually, and he would take me fishing, which I always liked. And then I moved away. Well, right before I moved, he had a son. And so I moved away. His son grew up and he took his son fishing. And his son's old now. His son lives here. He just got married, but Jed is the next generation. So he's been taking
Really?
Jed fishing for the last couple of years. He has a small boat now, so they go out in Hilo Bay and go
So they
catch.
so they troll?
Yeah. Or if they, I guess he has that meter, the scent, whatever, the fish finder.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll sit on a pile of fish if they find one. But he has like a small kind 10, 13-foot boat or something with a little motor on it.
Kalika Poi Poi.
Holly's in the house.
What's up, Kali? Congratulations, bro.
Yes.
Thanks for coming through. We were just talking about you. I think you missed it. What are you gonna do? You got family, Hilo. You're always in Hilo, but you live Oahu. What are you gonna do? Like, you gonna what's the plan? You gonna retire from HFD and then you're gonna go Hilo, or you know what I mean? Is that the plan?
You know, I haven't decided. For a while, a couple of years ago, I was obsessed with buying a house, and I decided I couldn't afford one here, and I was almost gonna go. I let my chief know. I I let the Big Island fire chief know. We even called the kids' schools and let them know like we're probably gonna move. But at the last second, I changed my mind. So I stayed. My parents bought like 5 acres volcano, and they're gonna build a house. And they said that's for us to hang,
Yeah.
later. So we could. But I don't know. It is nice, but I don't retire for another 17 years.
You
So
got
I
plenty of
got some
time.
time to think about what I want to do.
Yeah,
Cammy
dude.
wants to move to another country. That would be nice too. Live in some other part of the world.
HFD, is that you have like 2 on, 3 off, 3 on, 2 off type thing? How does that work? Or every other day or whatever?
Yeah, it's hard to explain to people, and even when you first start, it seems random, but it's like you work 3 shifts, but not 3 in a row. So you work 24 hours, say in a 5-day span, you work 24 hours, then you're off for 24, then you work another 24 hours, off for 24, then you work another 24 hours.
Okay.
And that would be a cycle, 1, 2, 3, or a tour, those 3 shifts. After these 3 shifts, you have 4 days off. So in the 9 days, you work 3. See that?
Yeah.
And then it starts over again. And you go back to work, off, work, 4 more days off. So it averages out to about 10 days a month. The city works. I think the federal's on a different, federal firefighters on a different schedule. So they work maybe 13 days a month or something.
How
I
great
think
was that for you? How great was that for you guys when you got
yeah,
hired at HFD?
it was awesome. I think getting through recruit class was hard, right? Because it's like every day and then
Yeah.
you're beat. And then once you get in the field, being away for 24 hours, that takes a little bit of getting used to it. If you have a family, you know, it felt weird for a little bit, and then you get used to it. I think wives need to prepare themselves, you know, to be home for 24 hours without the man. You know, some kids, like my kids, sometimes they'll test mom more than dad. So,
well, you got boys.
But, yeah. So, but it does offer a lot of time off. So you can have another job like I tried to have, or
does everybody have another job?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of the overtime was really good because we were short staffed for a while, and you could work at other stations if they were short. But now with COVID, you can only work overtime at your station. So if no one's taking vacation or no one's sick at your station, there's no chance for you to make extra money. They don't
want you to go to the other.
Right. They don't want like cross-contamination or whatever. Yeah, I guess makes sense, but whatever. But yeah, I don't have another job. I just spend it with the kids.
Cully just said January 19th, so you got about 40 days, Cully. Enjoy it, bro. Enjoy it. You'll never be the same after that. You're going to take the red pill. You're going to take the red pill, and it's all over after that, Cully. Take a picture of yourself because you're going to change. Look at Jensen. He's worked 7 years or whatever for HFD. He's got facial hair and
an afro, pretty much.
Like super.
What is going on? Yeah, this is the quarantine hair. My wife had COVID, so we just got out of quarantine, and she said no shaving and no cutting hair. I was like, yeah, never had facial hair like this before.
Cammy said it was a sweet schedule, but back then 41K starting was sad.
Yeah,
you guys caught a new contractor, right?
Well, when is our last contract? Well, I think they're in negotiations now.
Okay.
But yeah, probably be slim. I think we just want to maintain right now whatever we got, because I think city's trying to take away with all the lost revenue and taxes from no tourism and all that. So they're probably going to try to take money back. So I think our union is just going to try to maintain what we have and just ride it out till the economy gets better.
Well, the word on the street is that HPD is going to go on a hiring freeze. Now, I've heard that before. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. But everybody inside is like worried that the movement's going to slow down, because HPD, the movement starts from the bottom. It's the amount of guys you get from the class push you out. And so if like we've had classes, I think we had a class of 12 maybe 3-4 years ago. There's only 12 people, so the push was only 12 people moving around. But then sometimes you got 40 or 45 that push, and then that's a lot of movement. So people get promoted, tons of people retire, and now everybody's saying like after Cully's class, which is Cully, what is that? The 199 that they're supposed to slow down or whatever, probably because of the economy. I'm guessing, right? And I know they're probably going to try to take some stuff back. It's so hard to do that, though. I was just the reason why I asked is because I know people like us were able to survive on Oahu because of our jobs. And it seems like the only way you can really thrive or at least live comfortably and like do the things you want to do is if you work for the government or you're an entrepreneur and your business does well. You know what I mean? By like most of the people we know work hospitality, right? They're like cooks or servers, or they work at the hotels, or they work Costco or whatever. So like I'm thinking stevedores, or if you work for the government, and let's be honest, it ain't that much money. Like base pay for HPD or HFD isn't all that. You got to work overtime, but at least you get the chance. For me, I was working, we were only allowed 20 hours of special duty a week. And I was working all 20. So that's 2 full shifts and a half shift. So I used to work 2 jobs. There's that one bit that's called Ikaika, but they got bought out. They got bought out by I forget what the name of it is now. But it used to be Ikaika. I used to work those 2 8-hour shifts, and then I'd work 4 hours at McDonald's in Waikiki or Zippies, like pick up 1 Zippies a week or whatever. So if you took
how was that? Was there any action? I mean, I know that McDonald's there was a shooting, but was there just
All
a lot of
the
action?
time. That was so much fun. So
I
the
can just
thing is,
imagine.
so I'm sure you've been in there, probably not much because people don't like to go in there. But if you're just looking at like the menu to the left, they got that back section. It's like a dining area. So it's shaped like an L, right? And so
Oh,
most people eat in the front, but if you walk to the side of where you order, to the left, there's a whole nother area.
oh,
But at
I didn't know
nighttime,
that.
they close it off. They put like a podium there so that people can't go back there because that's where the workers walk from the kitchen to the like maintenance room or whatever. So HPD, usually we would put our stuff back there and we would stay back there because you can see Kuhio. There's that courtyard to the side of the McDonald's, and I could see Kuhio, so I could see action, but I could also see in the dining room. And so the shift was from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. because bar closures, because some bars close at 2, some are open till 4, especially in Waikiki. At least the people hang out. So everybody would go get wasted at the bars, and they would leave the bars, and then everybody be on Kuhio. And so you got the drunk soldiers, and then you got local boys, and that was not a good mix when you got drunk soldiers, especially because we had so much trouble. That's like I remember the first time I seen somebody bleeding out of their head, like pouring out of their head, was from Waikiki, from Kuhio. There were shots fired. We had a stabbing victim. I had tons of unconscious people, sex assaults. I mean, Kuhio was nuts. And everybody parked next to McDonald's, so there was that huge winding parking structure. I think it's Coco Head of the McDonald's, which McDonald's is on the Mackay side. So it's like the Coco Head side of McDonald's. There was a parking lot. And so had tons of soldiers. Everybody would run up there. So wherever you'd hear on the radio. So this is how it works. With special duty, you're not supposed to do anything. Like, you're not there to mess
You're not
with
law enforcement necessarily.
Well, you are law enforcement. The problem is you're private. So during that job, you're supposed to stay on the property and protect that property and do what they want you to. You're not supposed to go patrol and look for problems out in the street because they're paying you. But if you see something, you can't ignore it, right? So you would radio it in. But you got your radio on because you got to hear what's going on, because there'd be shootings and stabbings all the time. Every week it seemed like there was a shooting or a stabbing or some kind of like weapons call. And you'd hear it on the radio, like, we got shots fired or whatever, 5 guys running westbound Kuhio, or they're running up Lures or whatever, right? So of course you'd hear on the radio, you'd run outside, and I'd look down at Lures or whatever, waiting to see some action. And I cannot tell you how many times there was 50 guys, like a mob, running like up Lures or down Kuhio from the bars, just bottles getting thrown, whatever. So I liked that job because it was so much action. But also, if you just sat in the back, there'd be no problems. You know what I mean? You didn't need to get involved. You could just sit in the back and watch the McDonald's. But then you had tons of people that would start fights in McDonald's. You know, the whole Didi situation with
Right.
That a smaller version of that happened every night, just without a gun. People would always be fighting in line. I had to kick, a lot of homeless people. We call them RCPs, residentially challenged persons. There are tons of RCPs.
Challenged. I like that.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's like what we're supposed to call them on the radio is RCP. And they would come in there and like sleep. And dude, they're stinky and like got doo-doo all over their pants. And, it was gross. So people would come in to eat, but they can barely stand the smell. Like 1 or 2 of them come in and the whole place stinks. So people be complaining. Your boy Nick. Yeah, I'm talking about the Kuhio one. That's the one that gives pineapple for a side item with your Happy Meals and all that. Cully said he still got to get his core frames. Cully, you got to go security equipment. They don't have them. Or go to Pacific Woolen. So for those of you who don't know, Cully is a good friend, basically family to Jensen.
Yeah, my wife's first cousin.
Yeah, and his family, I'm like Hanide, but they Hanai everybody because they're so awesome. Is there a better dude than Uncle Arnold? He's just the best.
He's a legend. Yeah,
And he's got that long.
he has a ponytail now.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Love that guy. What would you? Where does? If you had to say where they lived, what would you say? Because I would just tell people tentless.
Oh, the valley is Mauna Loa.
Oh, it's Mauna
Mauna
Loa.
Loa Valley. Yeah.
Actually, Mauna Loa is the street name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the valley name. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
Kalalakoa is named after the chief way back of that valley.
Of Mauna Loa.
Yeah. So they're all on like a DLNR lease. So in order to get a plot there or land there back in whenever, the 80s, you had to prove your lineage to Kalalakoa, which is the chief of that valley. Tell me if I'm wrong, Cully, but he's named after that. Yeah. So that's why I made
Cully. Cully was, I don't know. How old was Cully when I met him?
Probably like
12?
13. Yeah.
Remember, he's just a little kid. Superstar, Cully. You're a superstar. You're going to be chief one day. Just don't get arrested. You know what I mean? Love that guy. Did you always want to be a fireman?
I don't think consciously I did. So what I said in my interview, my second interview. So when I was, I think 25 or 26, I took the test, went all the way physical, the physical agility, passed all the background stuff, and then I got to the interview and I totally bombed. So I had to wait another 7 years or so. Anyway, in that time, I got to think about what I should say next time. And I remember when I was in 8th grade, I was at Korenic Intermediate, and we went into the library, and this guy did an aptitude test with like all these index cards with like little, index cards has like a little manila folders have like a little bump, but that bump had a hole in it. So you take this survey of what you want to do, and at the end, he had this everyone had a long metal pin. And based on your answer, you would stick that pin through, pull it out, and get rid of it. And you answer the next question, put the pin, and somehow it was like it got rid of or it either got rid of or all the jobs that you didn't want. And I ended up with my #1 job being a firefighter.
No way.
When I was in 7th or 8th grade, and then I totally forgot about it.
And that was at Korenic.
Yeah. And then I didn't think about it again till, I was in my 20s, when I was like, I can't work at a hotel for the rest of my life. I saw my future in like the people I was working with. They were in their 40s. I was like, man, what could I do? It's too late. I'm not going to play in the NBA, so that's out.
Yeah, Jeremy Lin already took your spot.
What's next? I could have been the first now. And so I was like, that's all I could think of, where I could have time, make money, and support a family with some sort of stable career. And I could have been, I had a degree. I could have taught English or taught in a school. And I tried to. I almost did, but I ended up getting in the fire department. So.
That's great, bro.
So not always. I guess maybe always. I don't know.
So many people want those jobs. You know what I mean? Like so many people want to be a policeman or a fireman or ocean safety, right? It's like everybody would do that. I mean, there's obvious reasons for ocean safety, right? Like the lifestyle.
Yeah, but also, I don't think they get a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't think they make all that much money. I think your sister just lost.
Oh yeah, it's my sister. Yeah.
Hi, sister.
What's up, JC? Her boyfriend, I think, is a EMS. I think he's a paramedic or something.
In Honolulu?
No, in Hilo.
Oh,
on the big
Hawaii
County, yeah. Yeah. There's thousands of people who apply. How many people take the test for HPD? How often are tests HPD?
Dude, tests are all the time, but because now it's easier. For me, it wasn't as easy. Now it's a much more refined system, but I know that about 100 officers retire every year, and about 100 new officers graduate every year. I remember when I did the research on my episode 1 of the podcast, it was like 2,000 people applied for my class, only 700 people were invited to take the test, and then 300 passed or something like that. And then of that 300, we graduated 36. No, so we started with 36. We lost four. We lost 4 officers. Oh, 4 recruits, and then graduated. Oh, I'm sorry, 6. That's what it was. My bad. We had 32. Our class was 32. We graduated 26. We lost 6 of them.
Dang.
How many did you lose?
One resigned like the second week, and then a second guy, like midway through, he was in the military and he got called to like active duty, like Kosovo or somewhere.
Right.
But he came back and he came in the next class, but we didn't lose. Just a one, pretty much.
I just want to give some shouts out. Hey, Hawaii Owl. Thanks for coming through. JC. Thanks for coming through and seeing your brother. Lightning Basketball Club 808. So you know Jensen, I bet.
No,
because he's a boss. It's all those years growing up playing Cartwright basketball. You ever played a Cartwright?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I played with Justin Ogilvy one night over there. I took him over there.
Way. Maddie, thanks for coming through. Thanks for all the love. Kiki, Cammy, Cully. And that's Cully's girl right there.
Lana, yeah.
Yeah.
Lana.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad you came on. I wanted to get a chance to talk to people that I really love and care about, that I make connections with. You guys are seriously like part of the reason why you guys were a connect for me. You were one of the first, if not the first, like local family that took us in and kind of showed us what Hawaii was. And I can only imagine that direction, like it's like aiming. You aimed us in the right direction, and it was the best experience ever. And I have so many people that ask me, that reach out to me and say, how can we make Hawaii successful for us? Like, we're moving to Hawaii, we're thinking about moving to Hawaii or whatever. And every single time, the first thing I say is, you got to connect with some people. Like, you got to connect with good local family, because it's hard to tell you. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to live it, you got to experience it, you got to come over for dinner. You know what I mean? And get to know the family, and then it kind of self-corrects itself. And so I appreciate you and the family, man. And I wanted to have you on because, you know, you were such a honestly, you're one of the biggest parts of our life in Hawaii. And still to this day, like when I came out and visited for the funeral, you opened up your house to me, and I stayed with you. Basically all my spare time was with you. And you guys still take care of us. I'm still getting packages in the mail from you. I'm no joke. I'm always excited when Christina says I got a package, because it's probably from you, and it's probably a new shirt, which, by the way, everybody always, I get comments on every video about my shirts. Everybody's like, nice shirt. Like that Kaloi Kai I rocked yesterday on my live. That was from you. I got this light sleepers. And then what's the one you sent me? You remember the one with the front shaka with the tongue?
Oh, yeah. This is Kicks Hawaii.
Yeah, that was like an old school original Kicks
like
Hawaii.
Yeah. I think my sister's friend drew that, actually.
Really? JC's friend?
Yeah. No, my sister Ren. I think her friend, I want to say Kalani, this guy named Kalani. He lives in New York too now. I think he did that art, I want to say. Anyway.
And then, but one thing I'm always
Rose Street.
The Rose Street. That may have been the best. That's from your sister, right?
Say what?
Who was that from?
No, that was, what I gave it to you when you came for the funeral, but the guy who owns that skate shop's in California, but he went to Roosevelt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So is the Rose Street in Cali that he's talking about?
Yeah, that's the name of his
skate
store, his store over there. Sean Kelly. Rose Street Skate
Shout out to Sean Kelly. Well, you're always keeping me fly, and be a theme on the channel is my local shirts. Every chance I get, I try to wear them on the podcast. Invictus Maneo, what's up? Kiki says, "Good looking out, Jensen."
When I see stuff, I know I think of you. I'm always looking up. But yeah, you're the first guy within the Christian community that I thought I could hang out with. Because I didn't grow up in church. I don't know. No one knew. You know, I grew up listening to hip hop and researching sneakers, and no one got it. Like no one knew.
Yeah.
No one knew what it was. So I even though I was like, okay, yeah, I'm down with this new lifestyle. I just never had any real friends I could like be myself around, I guess, you know?
Like
So
you guys had like this little family back then. I knew you before Kala, right?
yeah.
Yeah, because we knew Cammy when she was
Jed,
pregnant.
was Jed born?
Jed was born.
Okay.
Yeah, Jed was young. You guys are locked up in quarantine, so can you guys go? You guys can still go beach?
Oh yeah. So the beaches have been open. I've been taking the kids to the beach. When it was locked down, like the most severe lockdown that we had, you could still go in the ocean. You couldn't sit on the beach,
Right.
but you could be in the ocean. So we had the beach to ourselves. I would take. Seth was like, I think I've grown the most in bodyboarding. This quarantine, because I would take them almost every day to the beach in the morning or at night, in the afternoon, and I just have to be in the water. And then as things relax, you know, we could all go to the beach and stuff. We went yesterday. It was packed. Waimanalo was packed. But
you guys always go to Nalo?
Yeah, or Makapu. I've been taking them there. They've been getting confident enough when it's decent size. One time I took them dawn patrol. It was macking. Like I was like, holy crap! But they just paddled out, Jed and Seth, and usually I get in the water and I like keep an eye on them. But I stood on the shore like in case I had to run in, and I don't know. It was pretty big though. But
I heard it's going off right now.
North Shore country is macking.
What, had a storm?
I guess, yeah. It's like 20, 30 feet or whatever.
Wow, dude.
And,
I watched those videos and it makes me want to get in the water, but I would die. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's you got to have a healthy fear of the ocean, because I think tourists don't. So, you know, they just think it looks so easy. They're making it look so easy. But I want to give a shout out to Tayo Shipman. He's my engineer on my truck. We were so he surfs big. He's like a alternate for the Eddie contest. Like I think
Really?
first alternate last year. But the kids like to watch. So they like watch raw footage of Waimea, and I swear to God we saw him surfing Waimea the other day.
So what's the alternate? Does that mean like
in case so it's by invite only, right? And so if someone in the middle of the contest gets hurt and can't continue, or if someone doesn't make it, anyone doesn't make it, I think he was first. This last year, he was the first alternate. And I don't know what number he was. I don't know how many alternates they have and what number he was the year before that. I think the last 2 years he's been an alternate. I can't imagine.
Did you surf a lot growing up?
Not till I moved. Not even till after high school, because I was a gym rat. And then after high school, I didn't have anything to do. I needed a new hobby. And we started body surfing because I could only afford fins, or maybe someone gave me fins. So we go to Sandy's, and then you can only take so many poundings until you want it. Then we started bodyboarding. I never really surfed till I was later because I couldn't afford a surfboard. Surfboards are super expensive. And I had a part-time job, so I could only afford a bodyboard. But me and Inoka's cousin, Makani, some other friends, we'd surf in town and we'd surf all over. We ended up surfing North Shore, but probably like 6 or 8 feet would be the most. After that, I'd be like, nah. I would probably a couple times.
6 or 8 feet is heavy, dude. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I caught one. Yeah. I caught one overhead set at outside canoes on some storm in the summer, and I remember praying. I literally prayed to God. I said, God, if you let me live, I promise I'll paddle for the next wave. Just don't let me die. It's like I made a deal with him. And I paddled. It was the biggest wave I ever caught. And I still remember Bryce at the bottom of the wave shouting. He's going, just screaming top of his lungs as I surf by him. But I look, you know, I'm a kook, so I really don't know what I'm doing. But this is like 2011 or whatever, maybe during academy, maybe 2008, and I was scared to death.
Yeah, it is scary. I mean, we got decent, right? We could do tricks and spins and rolls and airs and all that, you know, but there came a point where I stopped getting better. I stopped. I could only do so much, and then it became boring. And then I had kids, and I didn't have time 2 or 3 hours to run away. So
But
I just
now
kind
they're
of
charging.
now it's their turn, yeah.
Yeah.
So I take them as much as I can.
What's the spot that we used to go? What was my favorite spot? It was just Cocoa Head of Sherwoods in Waimanalo.
Oh yeah, the side of the road where we would just pull over. I don't know what the name of that spot is. I just call it Waimanalo.
It's technically Waimanalo Beach, but it's like
the
easternmost side.
Right, that little break in the guardrails.
That's my favorite place on earth, right there.
So we've been going behind McDonald's and 7-Eleven. If you drive further into Waimanalo, there's the McDonald's. Just in the back, there's all the beach accesses. We go over there. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not.
Where you park, McDonald's?
No, like on this, you go past McDonald's, you drive all the way to the road ends. It's like a big U. If you go in at 7-Eleven, you can only go so far, and then it goes left, and you drive along parallel with the ocean, and at the very end, you can only go left again, and it comes out at McDonald's. It's like a big U.
Oh, okay.
So all along there, you can park.
Did they build up Sherwoods yet?
Oh, no, I don't think they're gonna. I think they stopped the project.
Really? Because I remember during COVID, when everybody was on lockdown,
right?
The mayor like pushed through.
He let them keep working, but I think they.
Okay.
I think they stopped the project.
That was a rough one. I met him. I actually liked him when I met him. I spent time with him here in Washington D.C.
Oh, right.
You know, politics aside, like he seemed like a good dude. He seemed like he cared about Hawaii. And when I got back, he pulled that. It was like 2 weeks later, and he was pushing through the Sherwood renovation. And I remember thinking, oh, dude, like, what a horrible time. Everybody's stuck at home. Everybody already feels like this is some conspiracy. And then now you're going to jam this thing through. It's going to be, what, a playground or whatever? Do you know, are they
like some sort of like community center. I don't know the specifics of it, but yeah, some sort of community center.
So they're going to take the parking lot and do something with it? Or are they going to jam up like the bathrooms? Or are they going to like take those trees down?
Yeah, they was going to take the trees down, like right across from the polo fields. They had cleared all this area right next to the driveway. So if you're driving in Sherwoods on that driveway, to the right is all cleared out, right along the highway.
Yeah. So
I don't know how far along they got, if they cleared all the area or just part of it or what, but I think it's stopped for now. I don't know if forever, but they got a lot of pushback from the community, which is normal nowadays.
Yeah. Dang, bro. I'm glad they didn't do nothing yet. That's my favorite spot. We would always go camping. At least we'd bring our tents. We'd just stay all day. Loved it out there. Mad wind, though.
Yeah, and man-o-war sometimes.
Yeah. You guys got stung. You got beat up pretty bad this year, yeah?
Oh, I got a good one. The boys all got, yeah. But, I mean, I got stung all over, right? Front, back. The thing was on me. Like, the head was, like, I was like, on me. And I was, like, it was so sore.
And you guys are Waimanalo?
Yeah.
So what happened? You were body surfing?
Yeah, I was just in the water. Yeah. It's just the kids are, and I'm constantly kind of checking, and they are too. They'll point them out or whatever. But this one snuck up on me from behind, and it wrapped around me. And I was like freaking out. I couldn't get it. I was like, where is it? And I look, and the bubbles on my side.
So what is
So
it?
I'm like trying to get it off.
What's it feel like?
Ah, like I don't know if it's a burning or like razors cutting you or like just a massive stinging. Like maybe like bee stings,
Yeah.
except like all over, in the line, what. But
Yeah.
I was like in some pretty bad pain, I mean, but when the kids get stung, they handle it pretty good. I'm
I
like,
know.
they make me feel like
I
I was
know.
kind of a wuss. Like
Who?
I was like,
So
okay, we're
have
out of
all
here.
your boys got stung?
We gotta go home. Yeah, they all got stung. I mean, multiple times, like, but on different occasions. But sometimes they'll get stung and then they'll just keep on surfing and then finally they'll come in and go, oh man, I got stung.
But they
Where?
just
Oh,
stayed
right here.
surfing.
Yeah, they just go back. They just stay.
We had,
Sometimes
I
it's
think it was
really bad
Kalea.
where they.
Who got stung, babe? Yeah, Kalea got stung when she was like, dang, I guess Kalea got stung in 2018 and handled like a champ. And I talked to grown men to say it's like excruciating.
Right.
And she handled it like
So
a beast.
kids, yeah, surprising.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I was scared. Every time I was gonna go surfing, I checked the weather report and try to see when the last full moon was. Because what is it, 3 or 4 days after the full moon?
Oh, box jellyfish is like 7 to 10, I think.
Oh, 7 to 10 days after the full moon.
Maybe 8 to 10 or something
They freaked
for
me
the
out.
boxing.
And then the man of war is just the wind, yeah?
Yeah, they just get the bubble just right over their head, catches the wind. That's it. I don't know if box jellyfish do they do this? I don't even know. I've seen them on the beach, like they're just clear blobs of clear, like gel, but I've never been stung by one.
Bro, it still freaks me out. You ever seen a shark when you're in the water?
Maybe twice. Alamana though. Yeah, twice. Maybe 3 times. The third
Wow.
time, not so much, but definitely twice. The first time we paddled in. The second time, it was okay. I was like, I freaked out the first time, and then
Where were
after
you,
that,
town?
yeah, Alamana Beach Park, way out there. The first
Damn.
time, I guess we were with some friends that weren't very experienced, so they freaked out. But it was like probably 6 foot, not very big, but sure enough, big enough to take a chunk out, I guess.
Dang, bro.
Yeah, but I've never seen a tiger shark or anything big.
I feel like that's how Jason Patterson makes me feel like such a little man. Because I know if he saw a shark, if he was by himself or whatever, he'd still sit in the lineup.
Yeah, hey, shark, watch out.
He's a beast. I love that guy. I think he's doing well. Have you seen him?
So. I saw him. HFD has a drone program though. So we were doing an exercise out in Nanakuli, maybe Kahe Power Plant across the street or somewhere, and it was with like Coast Guard and like a multi-jurisdictional like ocean, and he was a ocean safety representative. But I think he's pretty close to retiring, I think, because he started when he was 19, I think, right?
Yeah, he said Uncle Brian.
He's like the OG.
Yeah, he said Brian like just walked up to him one day after school, whatever, and said, "You want to be a lifeguard?"
Right.
What a trip,
and he's
dude.
a lifeguard.
Back before you had to do all the paperwork.
Yeah.
Just made him a lifeguard. Don't get me started. The next one we do, we'll have to reminisce because I'm a part of that. What is it? Vintage Hawaii group on Facebook, or it's like, the good old days of Hawaii or whatever, and it's just people posting photos of like the 60s and 70s on Oahu, Waikiki or whatever. That's my favorite group. I really miss it, dude. I've never even experienced it, and I miss that time where you could see Waikiki, no buildings.
Oh, that's
right,
whenever I'm out, I sometimes I imagine what it would look like, especially like surfing in the ocean, and you look back at like, what if none of this was here? Imagine if you just like pulled up in a canoe and you just saw this island and you just ran into it. How crazy would that be?
I know, dude. Well, still get other islands that are, you know what I mean? Not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So we should wrap it up. We've been doing this hour and 10 minutes. I did not know it was going to go that long. And so I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for taking the time away from the family and hanging out with me. It was fun. And
Yeah, it was. Thanks
hopefully
for
we can do it
checking.
again. You down to do it again sometime?
Yeah, anytime.
Okay. Cool, bro. Love you, man. Love the fam. Tell everybody I said what's up.
Okay, same. Thank you.
Be safe, bro. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Mahalo to everybody for coming through. Thank you, guys.